Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Sundays with Sully. Thank you guys for tuning in. You guys know the spiel. If you haven't done so already, give us a like, follow, subscribe, share on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook at Navtronics. All right, that spiel's out of the way. What are we talking about, guys? Today we're talking about shore power. As you can see, I've got all this kind of stuff spread out here. This one hits a little close to home for me, guys. A large contributing factor in most marine fires is electrical. Now, there's obviously a lot of breakdown subcategories we can get into there, but a large portion of them come from power management and from shore power cords and just some basic systems that we can go through and that are totally preventable. All right? So what are we talking about? We're talking about, I got a little show and tell for you guys here. As you can see, as we cut away in this video, I have this nice 30 amp shore power cord. It's a Hubble. You can see, we've let the smoke out of it. Take a look on the back side of it here. You can actually see the plastic has melted and the actual wire going in there, the black wire, the hot wire, is actually started to melt as well. And the other end of this cord that was plugged into there, as you can see here, the smoke has been let out of there. That has started to melt. This is all due to resistance, guys. There's many contributing factors to this, but this cord's 2 years old. This outlet's about 3 or 4 years old, max. And what happened here, guys, long story short, this cord got dropped in salt water. It was cleaned out. It was not cleaned out properly. And then it was also another contributing factor into that was when this cord was put in, every time, it wasn't necessarily always tightened and locked down in place as tight as you can with this connector. So that creates resistance. So we add all of these things together, and then we start overloading this circuit. So we get things like the microwave, the stove, the hot water heater, and air conditioning all on at one time on a 30 amp leg. And now you're really cranking up the heat because now you're trying to draw a bunch of amperage through there. The offshoot of that is going to be heat when we get this resistance in there. And you say, gee, why didn't the shoreside dock pedestal trip? Well, in this particular case, it's becoming more and more common. This is an older boat. It has two 30 amp shore power cords, and it's getting plugged in dockside to a 50 amp on the pedestal. Well, this didn't exceed 50 amps on the pedestal, so it did not trip the breaker. So, guess what, guys? Thankfully, this was caught in time. The smoke was let out of the wire, but no fire was had. Unchecked, you have a lot of load going on your boat, you got a lot of potential for some problems. So do yourself a favor when you're getting on and off your boat, and maybe you just spent your time on the boat at the dock for the day because of fuel prices, you didn't want to actually go out, grab the shore power cord. Make sure it is not hot to the touch. If it's outside, obviously it's going to be a little bit warm. We understand that. But you don't want this thing warm or hot to the touch from the heat. You want to check your plug. If you start to even see just any bit of black charring in there, clean up the receptacle. Make sure it's all come back to all good and clean. And this starts going, chop the end off it. This is no good anymore. This is not usable anymore. Chop the end off like we've seen here, and you can go ahead and you can go, West Marine, Amazon, wherever, and you can get a new cable end for your cord. And when you're doing that, guys, a little piece of advice for you. It's very simple to do. You just cut the end off, splice wires. These are color-coded, black, green, and white. You can't put it into the wrong spot as long as you're not colorblind. If you are colorblind, get a friend to help you. Trust me, it's safer that way. Slide this boot over it. Pay the extra couple, $5, $10, whatever it is, to get this with the weather boot so that it slides over this whole pile and everything is one, and it looks like it left, basically like it left the factory with. Now you've given yourself a double layer of weather protection because, again, we're talking about shore power, we're talking about electricity. Last thing we want to do is get water into here. So spend the extra couple bucks for that little rubber boot right there. It comes with it. Same thing again. If you can't clean up this receptacle in here, these are very easy. Generally, the limiting factor, what I have found on most boats, from most builders, especially the older vintage, they don't leave a service loop for your shore power cord. All right, so that means you want to be able to pull that cord out. In our case on this one, it obviously melted the wire. This section of wire is bad, so we had to cut back the wire to good wire. Thankfully, we had plenty of wire there, so we get back to good wire. Then you cut it back, same thing again. It's all color-coded, very easy to get at, very easy to do. Put this on, there's a weather protection on this end as well. Tuck that back inside the boat on the wherever side you're plugging in at. and you are off to the races. You are good to go again. You've lost a couple inches on your cord, and everything's good. This particular case of doing this one, I think it was about an hour for a total turnaround time, and that included the trip to West Marine to go get the outlet. So that is this week's Sundays with Sully, guys. It's an ounce of prevention. Make sure you're not overloading your circuits. Be mindful of what's going on out there. Talking power management, if you don't have it or haven't paid attention to it, look at the amp meter on your boat. Just see, you shouldn't be running at max 30 amps all the time just because this is a 30 amp cord. You don't want to be running at 100% wide open on that. It's going to create problems somewhere down the line at some point. Just be mindful of that stuff, guys, all right? So that's it. That's this week's Sundays with Sully. Next week, we've got Scan Strut's got a new USB-C charger. We're going to be talking about that, showcasing that and those kind of goodies from there. And then I think after that, we are going to be showcasing Raymarine's Yacht Sense digital switching. And that's their new model of digital switching. We've got a Back Cove 34 build in process that we're doing all that fun stuff on. So we're going to have a whole bunch of content on that and talk about everything that's going into that build as well. So yeah, that's it. Look at that, guys. I actually know it's coming in the next 2 weeks out. So that's something different. That's all I got, guys. You know the spiel. Give us a like, follow, subscribe, share, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, at Navtronics, and we'll see you guys next week talking Scan Strut. Till then, peace.